going to talk about how you can create a marketing system that ensures that you pay attention to some of the vital information that you're going to be getting in your business. Your marketing system really begins with understanding who it is that you're trying to serve. So that's your target market. And then you want to have a really clear message about what you want to communicate to that audience. And every single time you communicate with your audience, whatever you do, the way that you look, the way that you present yourself, that's all about branding. And so you want to pay attention to that as well. It is really important that you decide up front what kind of customer experience you want your clients to have. So you want to put some energy into doing something that sets you apart from the competition. It's very important that you build trust with your target market right from the beginning, because people buy from those they know, like, and trust. We've heard that over and over again. So there are many ways that you can really get some information to your target audience. You want to deliver valuable content to them, something that's useful. There's a lot going on now with social media and the web. And in terms of the internet, you can do a lot through search engine optimization and generating leads and all kinds of referral marketing and joint venture strategies, all of these things to get people to come to you so that you're not always trying to figure out where is your target market. Things that are offline, things like publicity and public relations and things like that. Ultimately, whatever marketing that you do, you want to make sure that you have a way to monitor and track it so that you understand which of your marketing efforts have been effective and which aren't. And I always refer back to the client workbook. In the client workbook, there are going to always be these questions that you can think through and write, journal, or write directly into the document. So think about, what have you done to market your products and services so far, and what other areas do you still need to focus on? One of the most important things, and I get this from my sales background. I was a salesperson in corporate America for many, many years, and I remember we used to have what we called a funnel. Some sales organizations call them pipelines as well. And I remember the whole funnel process and thinking to myself, oh, I can't wait till I never have to do the funnel again. And here I am in my own business realizing you don't get to stop doing it. If you want to really manage the process of getting your customers into your business and manage the way that they flow through your business, you really need to have some system in place. And a funnel or a pipeline is a really good one for doing that. The way that a funnel works is that you get a new opportunity that comes into the funnel. If you could imagine in your mind a funnel with the opening at the top and then the smaller end down at the bottom, you have the new opportunities come in through that very top end, and then you go through this process, and ultimately what comes out of the other end is a sale. And so you would start with a new opportunity. Sometimes we call this a prospect. And in that phase, what you're basically doing is developing a list of ideal customers that not only are they good for your target market, but they also have the ability to make a decision about purchasing. Then you go through this process of pre-approach where you try to find out as much information as you can and prepare yourself for that initial communication with the customer. And the goal there is really just to understand what the customer's needs and desires are, and then understand what their decision-making process is as well. Then in the initial communication stage, that's where you go to the customer, you try to understand what it is about the company, build a rapport, and that sort of thing. And then you flow to this interview where you get as much information about the prospect's needs and concerns and issues and things like that. Once you have that, you can do an opportunity analysis and figure out, is this an opportunity that you really want to go after? Is it your ideal client? Is it going to be lucrative for your company, and that sort of thing? Then once that's decided, you go back, you do the sales presentation. This is where you're going to give a compelling story to your potential customer about why you are the best person to do business with them. Then there's that phase where the customer makes the evaluation of whether or not you're going to be the person they give the business to. Then there's going to be a back and forth negotiation where a lot of times objections will come up, things like it's too expensive, or we don't have the budget for it, or I need to do more comparison shopping, or that sort of thing. So there's a whole host of objections that customers can raise. And then once you're able to overcome those objections, you get to the point where the customer makes the commitment to buy, and you deliver that product or service to the customer. And then, of course, the follow-up stage. And it's important to make sure that there is a follow-up stage, because all too often a customer will buy something and then there is no other communication because we've moved on to trying to figure out how to get that next customer. Now, that's a phase that if you think of this whole sales funnel thing, if you think about it, it works for everybody in anything that we're doing. In a one-on-one situation, it's probably going to be a little bit more streamlined and probably not nearly as formal. But if you work for an organization, you probably are going to have a very formal process. So if you are a solo practitioner or if you are just thinking about establishing your business, think about this at the early stage. Like, how am I going to keep in contact with my customer and make sure that they're getting information from me on a regular basis, so when they need a doctor or when they need a baker, someone to do a wedding, an event planner, or whatever it is that you're focusing on, then you should be uppermost of mind. And the only way they'll know that is because you've kept in contact with them and you shared with them what it is that you do. In terms of marketing channels, there are many ways that we can get our business information out to the public, particularly to those people that are in our target market, more specifically to those people who are our ideal client. And so there are a variety of online and offline marketing things that we can do. I will not share this entire list with you, but I will tell you in the workbook, you can go in there and you can look and see some of the things that you can do. It ranges from, on the online side, advertising to blogging to social media, doing an email marketing campaign, doing video marketing, webinars, all kinds of things on the online side. And then on the offline side, things like putting ads in catalogs and newspapers and magazine ads and all kinds of radio and seminars and infomercials or sponsoring events. So there's just a whole lot of things that we can do in terms of getting our message in front of someone. I created it so that you could actually go into your workbook and check off the ones that you think might be valuable for your particular business, and then you can go and you can figure out if this is what you want to use. For example, if one of the strategies that you wanted to use for your business was blogging, you would then go and try to go through the process of creating a blog, finding out the right resource to use. I use WordPress for my blogging, also use WordPress to do my website, and then I can just have my blog as part of my website. So there are all kinds of things. Social media, do you want to sign up for Facebook, Twitter, and those sorts of things? Do you want to have a YouTube channel? Do you want to do LinkedIn? So there's all kinds of considerations about how you can get the word out about your business. In terms of product, we have to understand why people actually buy from us. And so a lot of times we think about people buy because of the needs they have, but more specifically, I think people buy because of their wants and their desires. I think that's even stronger. So we have to kind of think about what really motivates people to buy from us. I think there are several things that people do. People buy products, and they will buy your product or service to either save time, energy, or money, or to avoid something like discomfort, pain, or trouble, to satisfy something like pleasure or curiosity, to increase, to make money or take advantage of an opportunity. A lot of times people buy for vanity. They want to look good, show off, or lose weight. And so it's important to understand, where does our product fit into those kinds of things? So then the other thing is profitability. It's really important that the products and services that we put out there to our target market end up being profitable to us. You know, a lot of times we know we have this desire or this vision or something that we really want to do, and we go out and start doing it, but we really don't know what the cost model looks like. And so, you know, a good question might be, well, what's my break-even point? Because I know if I break even, then at least everything beyond that's going to be gravy or profit. So we really do need to make sure that we understand the costs associated with doing business. So we need to understand our indirect costs. These are the costs that are associated with getting the product or service to market, and also our direct costs. And these are going to be the things that link directly to the product. And indirect costs affect the entire company, but direct costs are going to be very specific to what it is that you need to purchase or acquire in order to get that product to the marketplace. You also need to look at things like material costs and labor costs and overhead costs. And a lot of times when we are doing business in a service-oriented way, we don't think about the fact that we still have to look at the variety of costs that we incur in doing businesses. So we can still look at the indirect and direct costs of providing that service to our customer. One of the things that in the workbook, the question comes up of what can you do to make your product or service more profitable, and that's going to be taking a look at some of these costs, some of your indirect and direct costs, some of your material costs and your labor costs. How can you do it more effectively and efficiently? How can you bring your costs down? Because controlling costs is one part of the profitability equation. The other part of the profitability equation is increasing your sales. And sometimes, I remember when I worked in corporate America, you can't always increase sales. And so a lot of times what we looked to was, well, how can we manage the bottom line? And either way, at the end of the day, we're really talking about profits. So it's important to take a look at that. Some other considerations for you to think about are your ability to get the product to market in a way that's cost effective and get it to a market that's easy to reach. Also, what kind of research are you going to do about your product, and how are you going to look at the marketplace and the competition so that you can ensure that your product is actually viable? We talked a little bit about branding, but how do you brand the product and how do you position it in the marketplace? Also incorporating your customer feedback into the process. If you are already involved in producing your product or delivering your service, then you probably have some customers that you can go back to, figure out what it is that they have to say about how you can improve the process. And we're always really looking for a way to continually improve the processes that we put in place. Another consideration is your legal consideration. How do you protect your intellectual property rights? Do you need to do copywriting or trademarking or patents or anything like that? Does your business warrant you taking a look at the legal aspects in that way? And then maybe even trademarking, if you have an idea or concept or something like that is a trademark, something you might want to go about looking at. And then making sure that you obtain the right funding. If what you're going to be doing is a for-profit organization, then you're going to be looking at ways to raise capital, to run the business and take care of the operations. And if you're doing a nonprofit organization, you're looking for fundraising, ways of, still getting donations and things like that so that you can increase the funds to do your operations of your nonprofit as well.